Hello, I'm Kerrigan Cordy. It is Tuesday, June 27th, 2017. A lot's been going on in my life. It's been a while since I've made a video. Rather than been telling you to rather than tell you what's going on, I'll tell you what's on my mind. And that would be my 37th birthday. April 24th, 2014. This birthday was let's just say that by the end of my 37th year, I had quit drinking and I had come out as transgender. This birthday was just fucking hell. Absolute fucking hell. I had been drinking heavily, which was normal for me. Drinking from basically the moment I got up until I went to sleep, and I've hated my birthdays, and still I'm not really fond of them. This was bad. One thing about my family is my brothers and sisters, will call. None of us are really close. But, you can expect a phone call on your birthday. Happy birthday. And so I was living with my father. I had been there since May of 2012. And my father's a very manipulative, abusive person. Very self-centered. And so it was getting towards the evening. It was probably I don't know, maybe 2 hours before sunset. Oregon coast. So, it gives you an idea of the weather. It had been overcast and it had, sprinkled rain, misted on and off throughout the day. So, of course I had been drinking, but the thing is I rarely passed out. And I rarely had blackouts. And I was just not in the mood to talk to anybody, and really hadn't been taking phone calls. I didn't have a cell phone at that point. So my dad's landline was the only one that anybody could get a hold of me. And so I had basically, like, fuck this, I'm going to try to go to bed. And so I went and laid in my bedroom and had closed my door. And my brother, John, had called. And my dad, I don't remember what he said. He was in the next room. I wasn't sleeping. I couldn't sleep. But I was just laying there, just having these horrible thoughts go through my head. I didn't want to be alive, and I hated the fact that, here's people trying to celebrate my life. Congratulations on another year, when, the last thing I wanted was to be alive. Why congratulate me on this? So I'm laying in bed, and my back is facing the door, and so I'm laying down like this, and I kind of hold the phone a little, so, and my eyes are closed, and my dad bursts in and is like, your fucking family, your fucking brother wants to just wish you a goddamn happy birthday, so you're just gonna fucking take this call. And while he's saying this, he's slamming the phone against my head. At the core of the phone is, you're gonna take this fucking phone call, you bad. And then he slams it into my face one last time. And he says, so take the fucking call. And I just flipped out. I'm swearing. I just turned off the phone. And I don't remember if my dad got out of the room immediately or whatever, but I was just, fuck this. And so I don't know if I was wearing even pants, so I put on a pants shirt, and I had this ripped flannel coat that had this like fake sheepskin lining. And so I put that on, and I didn't have any ID, I had no keys, and I just started walking. And I wanted to kill myself. My dad lives close to this highway, and it's Highway 42S. And my dad lives a few miles off of it, down a dirt road that's, so it's a mile to the dirt road, or a mile down the dirt road to this other road that's another mile, little over a mile, to get to this highway. And so I went east on this highway, very bendy, no road lights, no lamp lights, whatsoever. There was probably 10 to 20 times more cows than there were cars that I saw. So, and I'm just in a horrible mood, and there's not much room anywhere to even walk on the side. There's not much of a shoulder. On one side, most of the way, it's a river and a pretty much sharp incline into it, and on the other side there's a hill and usually a tiny little, stream, not a stream, but something that's usually a foot or so wide of water running down the other side where there's a hill or the occasional house and shit like that. So I got to mile marker 9, and just so you know, when I reached this highway, it was a half a mile till mile marker 2. So at this point I had already gone roughly 2 miles before I reached mile marker 2. And so it was in kind of an accurate gauge as to whatever. And by the time I reached mile marker 9, the sun had well gone down and it was starting to rain. So it was dark, lonely highway. It was kind of cold, not really that cold. And I was starting to get thirsty. And like I said, I had nothing. And so I decided to turn around and humble up, which means by the time I got back to my dad's house, which I didn't even know what time it was, I just know that, the sun. And so it's like I'm going to have to knock on the door, ask if it's okay to stay, and just to humble up and just accept whatever the man says, because I'm completely at his mercy. And he knew it, and despite what he said, he took advantage of that until he kicked me out a couple of days before August of 2015. And oh God, horrible time. So I turned around, I walked back in the dark and in the rain. And so keeping in mind the state of the highway and the road, I walked it in the dark, and there were times I was just walking in the middle of the road, because to walk on the shoulder anywhere would have been to fall off. And when a car would come, it was so dark, and it may have been even foggy, I don't remember that well, but I had to just stare at the ground and even hunch over a little bit and find the edge of the highway, because you could see the car lights are coming, but there were so many bends in the road and whatever. It was tough, and I nearly got hit and fell off the road numerous times. I nearly died that night, several times. And even though my intent was to kill myself, I ultimately didn't want to go through with it, and really couldn't. It's a miracle I survived. I really haven't told this to anybody to this extent. I may have hinted at it here and there in my life, but I've really never told anybody this much of it. So I walked back. So it's basically 18 miles plus. And I'm at the end of Highway 42S, and ultimately it's like 17 miles ultimately to the end of this road, mile marker 17. And so when I turned around, it was a little over halfway. So, I was walking to a town that I didn't know anybody. Nobody knew I was coming. No money, no ID. And that's not something that many people have done. And I was facing something that other people have done, and have lived, and I ultimately couldn't do it, but I'm glad I didn't. But, so I'm thinking about this today, and I'm gonna pause the video here, and I'm gonna go back, and I'm gonna kind of stop along places if I can find a good place to kind of explain where it is, and maybe I'll even put my phone up on my dash and do a drive, and maybe find a way to speed it up so you can kind of see just yeah, I think I'll do that. So I'll stop the video and kind of do some editing. I really don't like to. Like I said, shit's been real hard with me lately. There's been a lot going on, and I could make an hour video and just get to the bones of what it is. And it's no singular thing. Anyway, thanks for listening if you've made it this far. And hopefully, oh God. Anyway. Here's where I started, here's where I turned around and started walking home. sorry about the cut out there. I just barely noticed that it wasn't recording. It kind of cuts off at 10 minutes, so I don't think it was that long ago. Anyway, when I reached mile marker 2, I started paying attention to the distance, and so far we are just under 2 miles from mile marker 2. So, oh, there's a deer. Hey, sweetie. So now, nobody associated with any of my family or friends lives here anymore, which is all the better. So, you know, this is the dirt road I talked about. So, you know, in order to get out of my dad's place, I walked this. Yeah, this is one of the... I walked every place here when I was losing weight. When I had quit drinking, I walked this 2, sometimes 3 times a day. And I did it for like 8 months, along with cutting out as much salt and sugar as possible. Even to the point when I tried to Triscuit it at one time, it was so salty I had to spit it out and couldn't even finish the little cracker. Yeah, so still going. Okay, here is exactly 2 miles from mile marker 2. So at this point on my way home, I had walked 18 miles. Or double whatever the distance is from here, because I need to take into account the extra distance involved. Yay! Well, since we got more time to kill, I might as well kind of tell you some of the things going on in my life. With shrimp season going on, I've been working a lot. I have a friend and coworker I pick up, and since I live quite a distance away, my shift doesn't start until 6 o'clock, sometimes 6:30, depending upon what I'm going to be doing. And I need to leave my place by 4:50 in the morning, and I usually don't get back. My phone's gonna die soon, so I usually don't get home until like 5:30, sometimes 6 if I, you know, have to stop for groceries or, you know, gas, that kind of thing. Yeah, we're still going. And so if you ever seen other of my stories, and especially the first one where he flips out and kicks me out, and he's like, what if somebody sees you? You know, what if a child sees you? So we're talking about this, you know, right now it's noon Tuesday in the summertime. There's no school, no nothing. You know, this is as busy as this road fucking gets. No, because, you know, sometimes you see 2 or 3 cars on it throughout this whole distance. And so we're still not at my dad's former residence, where I spent 3 years of fucking hell. Alright, way up there you can see the white mailbox. I ended up running over his old one, because I was... yeah, it was like the last time I saw him, and I told him that he is no longer welcome in my life until he can recognize that I'm a person. Alright, I'm taking my phone off of my mirror, and so this is my dad's place, and so I'm just going to show you real quick you may or may not be able to see the garage in the shed. So there's the garage. Wow, it's a new garage, and the shed is past that hill. And so from right here, he was worried that somebody would see me, that I was wearing a boy shirt and a bra underneath the boy shirt and boy pants, that somebody would see that and be so offended that their kids would start crying and they'd have to whatever. So that's another painful thing. And that was 0.2 of a mile shy of 3 miles. So that was my 37th birthday, and I didn't get home till like 1 o'clock, something like that. Very horrible time in my life, but truly that was the end of Samuel Durkee's life. That was the end of his life, you know, and it took 2-3 years to truly put him to rest. But more like 2 years. And that's my story. And I just like sharing this kind of stuff, and take it for what it means to you.